I was watching a video by It's a Gundam. Good content creator, good, just all around nice guy to watch. Also very funny because of the accent. And apparently there's this lawmaker in Illinois who wants to ban Grand Theft Auto video game to combat real world violence. So I looked up an article by kansascity.com. I will be putting links to It's a Gundam's video and this article for you to read. But yeah, this is just stupid. It's like nothing new. If they're not trying to tax video games to hell, they're trying to ban them to hell. Or as close to hell as they can get it. Because they don't want anyone to have fun, because these people have no lives, because they're that pathetic. And really, these are the type of people who should not be allowed to breed, as far as I'm concerned. But anyway, I thought I'd respond to the article. And just the news, just to get some more on it. But here it goes. The title is Banned Grand Theft Auto Video Game to Combat Carjackings, Illinois Lawmaker Says. An Illinois lawmaker wants to ban the sale of violent video games, including the popular Grand Theft Auto series. The bill filed by Representative Marcus Evans Jr. is a response to a recent increase in carjackings in Chicago, which he attributes to Grand Theft Auto, according to the media reports. He does not name GTA in the bill, but he singled it out during a press conference Monday. An Illinois law makes it legal for retailers to sell violent video games to minors. Okay, that's why we have a rating system, jackass. Evans Jr. wants to amend the law to prohibit the sale of all violent video games, he wrote in the bill Friday, which seems redundant because of the rating system and the PN. If parents are doing their jobs, their kids wouldn't be playing these games that they're not ready for. But, of course, instead of blaming the parents for not controlling what their kids' intake, we have to blame the harmless product that on its own does nothing. He also wants the law's definition of violent video game changed to reflect that they allow a user to control a character within the video game that is encouraged to perpetuate human-on-human violence in which the player kills or otherwise causes serious physical or psychological harm to another human or animal, he wrote in the bill. Evans said that Chicago area is suffering from activities promoted in video games, according to the Chicago Sun-Times. Of course. I mean, it's Chicago, so I'm not that surprised. It's a shithole. I mean, there's probably some nice people there, but really, I never heard anything good from that place, and they elect idiots, so I have no respect for them. Granted, my state isn't that great. We elected Abbott, who's can be hit or miss sometimes. But they have, I think, a district attorney or a prosecutor or whatever who lets people like Jesse Smollett get away with stuff. So I think they outdo us in the stupid department. Grand Theft Auto and other violent video games are getting in the minds of our young people and perpetuating the normalcy of carjacking, Evans said, according to the Walsh MLS. Carjacking is not normal and carjacking must stop. The most recent installment of the video game franchise, Grand Theft Auto 5, was released in 2013 with the frequent expansions added to it. It is now the second best-selling video game of all time, The Ringer reported. The franchise was first released in 1997. The newest game has a mature rating, meaning that only people 17 years old and up can purchase it due to blood and gore, intense violence, mature humor, nudity, strong language, strong sexual content, and use of drug and violence. God, that's a lot to read anyway. I feel like this game has become a huge issue in the spectrum, said community activist Early Walker, who worked with Evans, according to the Sun-Times. A busybody. Working in unison with a lawmaker. Yeah, this can't backfire in any way. But then again, these busybodies are never satisfied, regardless of whether science shows that their beliefs are bullshit. I mean, they're like the gun grabbers. They're never satisfied. They always want to take more and more till you have no rights. So, yeah, no gun rights, no freedom of expression rights, no nothing. Anyway, when you compare the two, you see harsh similarities as it relates to these carjackings, criminal activities. A user can do in the game include stealing cars, executing heists, and assassinating targets, according to the Entertainment Software Association. The Internet Software Association has often said there is no connection between video games and violence. Thank you, the first smart thing I've heard from this whole debacle. More than 165 million Americans enjoy video games, and billions of people play video games worldwide, the group said in a statement in 2019 to the Associated Press. Yet other societies where video games are played as avidly do not contend with the tragic levels of violence that occur in the U.S. Numerous studies have backed up this assertion, the AP report, but politicians have routinely put blame on video games for violent acts that have occurred in the country because they need a scapegoat and to get reelected. These politicians do not give a shit about us. They are scumbags, kind of like journalists. They look to stir shit, and lastly, the article ends with former President Donald Trump said in 2019, the video games contribute to glorification of violence in our society, echoing unverified claims that have been stated since the 1999 Columbine High School shooting in Colorado. And, of course, they had to mention that shitstorm. And that's it for the article. This is nothing new. Politicians, they're snake oil salesmen. Kind of like Anita Sarkeesian. They look for ways to benefit themselves, so they pander to your fears and your insecurities to get reelected and to benefit them. And they do this so you will gradually give away your rights. And these people need to be told to shut up and F off. And yeah, that's all I can really say about it, other than this is stupid. Then again, this is Chicago. I think they also tried to pass a bill where they could tax games more. I don't know if it went through or not. Or they tried to ban certain ones, alright? Because like, politicians have been trying this. The closest I think they ever got to it was, what was his name, Leland Yee. He was a Chinese politician from California who had connections to the Chinese mob, who was ousted and got arrested. My point is, people who do this stuff, who like to virtue signal and like to ban stuff, they are usually, more than likely, have a skeleton or two in their closet. So this Early Walker and Evans Jr., I wonder what they're hiding. Because I've never met a sanctimonious person who wasn't ever hiding something behind their righteousness. So they are probably hiding something and trying to make themselves look good, or they just want to pander to people and earn some brownie points. In which case they're pandering to the wrong crowd by pandering to people like Early Walker, who sounds like an activist who likes to stir shit and create problems where none is necessary. And yeah, this guy's an asshat. We know video games don't cause violence. Many of us play video games. There are parts of the world where there are access to violent video games where no violence is imitated on video games, according to this article. The difference between them and us is we live in a country where firearms are more available. Granted, you have to go through a process of getting your hands on the guns. You have to go through a background check and all that. But somehow they still get their hands on the... anyway, that's not the point. The point is, America is different from these other countries. And I kind of like that, because we're not pussified. But we do have this annoying problem that all these other countries do have. They listen, and we listen, to idiots in charge. France listens to Macron. Germany listens to Merkel. Britain listens to whoever the asshat is over there that runs the show. The Tony Blairs of the world, basically. And Canada listens to Trudeau, a walking soy pod. And unfortunately, we now have to listen to a walking ghoul with dementia, who shall remain nameless. Biden. Sorry, I had to hack a hack. Although I suppose in that case it would be a hack that's nepotistic and cancerous. And I swear to God, gamers have become like a persecuted minority in the world. That and weebs, which unfortunately I might fall under both categories because I like manga, anime, and video games, but anyway. Point is, these people are always attacking our hobbies, and I think it's about time people should push back against this. If you live in Chicago or Illinois, in general, I would suggest, I don't know, make some calls. Tell these people you don't support this. just make a big stink about it. Show that you're not going to support a legislation that does this kind of stuff. And I think people in all states should do this. They should show the government that they're sick and tired of this crap because they have been allowed to get away with it for too long to say this stuff without consequence. I mean, Trump even said it, and at least he shut up about it. I mean, he probably still believes it, but he shut up about it for a while, and he hasn't said anything since he said what he said about it last time. Another thing is, these kids who did this, I think I heard from It's a Gundam's video that they weren't even old enough to drive when they did the carjackings. Where are the parents of these assholes? Shouldn't they be giving them an ass whooping? Oh, wait, that's right, you can't do that now because that's child abuse. And I used to be in that crowd of against child abuse, but seriously, there are times when a parent really needs to take a hand to a kid's head and say, why'd you do something that stupid? Why'd you cause all this fuss? Why did you carjack an asshole who was dumb enough to leave his car door open? Because you left the car door open? I said, why'd you do it? I didn't want excuses. And that's all I can say. I just want to bring some attention to this because I think it's going to spread. No, actually, it's not that I think it's going to spread. I just wish more people were aware on this and would take a more proactive stance against it. Because this is, to me, it seems like censorship. It's trying to tell people what they can make, what they can buy. And I hate that. I do not like being told what to do. Unless it involves work. Beyond that, I would say if you were going to try to tell me what to do, I will do the opposite of what you say. If you tell me not to play a game, I will play that game. If you tell me not to read that manga, I will most likely read that manga. If you tell me not to be attracted to that girl, I will... Well, actually, no, that's not relevant. Point is, I tend to do the opposite of what people say. And to stir shit. Problem is, these people also like to stir shit. The only difference is, I do it for funsies. They do it just to be a malcontent. And to make themselves look good. And, yeah, it's probably some high times people pushed back against this nationwide. I doubt anyone is going to do it because of my video, but I just wanted to do this to bring some awareness to it and to talk about it. And yeah, that's all I can say. Good day, good night. Remember the game was rigged from the start, and goodbye.